Charmaine Vasquez is Chief Strategist at Forecast Inc. Thanks so much, Charmaine, for joining us.
Thank you.
Charmaine, first start by telling me what is exactly the current situation right now in Greece when it comes to their finances?
Well, it looks increasingly dire in Greece right now. The market is all but pricing in a default. Looking at the financial statistics that we look at, it looks like the issues that are relevant right now will probably come to a head by the year end, and we'll have a resolution of whether Greece needs to default on its debt or not.
Is there anything that Greece can do right now to fix its problems, or have they gone too far? Is the only option right now default?
Well, they've come pretty far down the road already. They've committed to some austerity measures. A lot of market participants and a lot of those in financial markets think that they haven't done enough, and perhaps more austerity measures and tightening their belts a little further might help the situation, might buy them some more time, but ultimately these are structural problems and they take many years to resolve. So either in an orderly default or an outright default is the most likely scenario at this point.
And if Greece does default, so we get to that worst case scenario situation, what is going to be the effects on the rest of the world? How will the global financial markets react to something like that?
Well, we've seen some of the type of reaction over the summer months. The market's been very volatile. We've seen a huge flight to safety bid in a lot of the safe havens. Gold prices have rallied to levels we haven't seen before. We've seen huge interest in the Swiss franc, just as investors seek safety. So we'll probably see a lot more volatility if Greece does default, because it does have implications for contagion through the rest of Europe. And through the last year and a half or 2 years, we've seen issues relating to Ireland, Portugal, Spain, Italy. It now looks like France might be in some trouble with the French banks having exposure to Greece. So it doesn't end with Greece.
What are the core problems in Greece, and are those the same problems that we're seeing in other countries like you just mentioned, like Spain and Italy and other European nations? Can we kind of expect that they might have the same kind of problems down the road?
The problems are similar, but not exactly the same. The problems in Greece is that they have, for many years, had this structural deficit that they haven't been able to curtail just by having too many liabilities on their books, with having to pay pensions, having to pay government workers, having a bloated public sector. And so we do see that across a lot of the other European nations that are facing trouble right now. Ultimately, this problem does require structural adjustments for most of the countries.
And if Greece is to default, Charmaine, who has the most to lose from that? What country will be immediately affected, and in what way?
Well, of course, that's the worst case scenario if Greece does default. Greece obviously has the most to lose in that situation. Not only do their finances then become very suspect, and the sell-off of Greek assets will be pretty profound, but it will also have very intense knock-on effects to the other peripheral countries that are facing similar problems. So we'll start to see kind of a domino effect start to plague capital markets, and I think the focus will then intensely focus on Spain, Italy, Portugal, and other indebted nations. And of course, we'll see the reverberations through the global capital markets. And I think in that situation, we'll face a very extended period of huge volatility in the financial markets.
Is there a lesson here that we can learn from Greece, even as individuals, about the kind of situation they've gotten themselves into? Is there something that we can take away from the situation we can apply to our own lives, maybe?
Absolutely. It's a question of getting in over your head. Greece got into the European Union by presenting itself as something it wasn't, and the reason it got into the Eurozone was because the statistics were fudged a little bit, and on a personal level, it means getting really clear with your personal finances and admitting to what you have and what you can spend and not spending beyond your means. So,
Okay, thanks so much, Charmaine, for joining us today and giving us some of your insights on what's happening in Greece.